All right, guys, here we go with 11.9, fractions, mixed numbers, and decimals as quotients. The question I have for you is, how can you show a quotient using a fraction or a decimal? So we're going to show this both ways, fraction and decimal. The problem is, 10 friends are going hiking. They bought a tub of trail mix, which is right here, to share equally. How much will each friend get? So there's 10 friends, one tub. How much will each friend get? Where are my numbers that I'm going to work with coming from? Well, first I see right here I have a 10, but that's in a word form, and that's the only one that I have so far. So I can see I have 10. Where's my other number coming from? There's no other numbers in here. But I can't forget about my visual. My visual tells me that 3 pounds comes from over there, okay? So my problem is going to be I have to get 3 pounds divided equally into 10. Let's see how we can figure that out. I'm going to draw some pictures. So here I have 3-pound bars. Now, if I only had 3 friends, I'd be able to give each of them 1 pound, and that would be super easy. But I don't. I have 10 friends and only 3 pounds. So I figure that I can divide each of those pounds up into 10 sections. Voila! Here they are. Each section, each pound is now divided into 10 sections, and each one of my friends will get 1 section from each pound. So they get 1 here, 1 from this pound, and 1 from this pound. So 1, 2, 3 out of how much? So as a fraction, I can write that as 3/10. Because it's divided into tenths, so that gives me my denominator. And how many parts do I have total? 3. Okay, so that's how I would get my answer as a fraction. But how can I get it as a decimal? Well, we learned that all of this fraction bar means is divide. So I'm going to take my 10 and I'm going to divide it by 3. You guys learned that this looks like this. 3 divided by 10, or 3 divided by 10. So when we set up our problem up this way, this is how we're going to help turn into a decimal. So I have 10 and I need to go into 3. Can 10 go into 3? Absolutely not. So that would be a 0, which would cause me to put a decimal point and another 0. So how many 10s can go into 30? Well, 10, 20, 30. 3 can. 3 times 10 is 30. When I sister subtract, I get 0. So my last step is that I need to come back and I need to move my decimal point up. So the decimal point for 3/10 is 0.3. And I know that because this spot right here is my tenths spot. So each friend gets 3/10 or 0.3 pounds of trail mix. Let's go ahead and take that problem one step further. The friends hiked 5 miles in 2 hours. If they hiked the same distance each hour, how many miles did they hike in 1 hour? Well, I see that I have a 5 and a 2. Those are probably my numbers. And I need to divide that to find out how much the 2 hours turns into a 1 hour. So I am going to take 5 and divide it by 2. That's how I'm going to set this up first. And I know that the fraction that equals looks like this. And that when I write it into a division problem, it'll look like this. So I ask myself, how many 2's can go into 5? Well, 2 times 2 is 4, and that gets me closest to 5. When I subtract, I have a 1. Now, I can go ahead and I can continue this problem by adding a decimal and a 0 I can bring down my 0, bring down my 2, and I can have how many 2's go into 10? Well, that's 5. 5 times 2 is 10, and that gets me down to 0. But I'm not finished until I bring my decimal up. So my answer would be 2.5 miles per hour. I also know that I could just take my improper fraction and I can turn it into a mixed number. That's also a possibility. By doing the same thing, we learned it this way. How many 2's go into 5? 2. 2 times 2 is 4. That leaves me a 1, so I know that my 1 comes up here, and my 2 becomes my denominator, 2. So I just wanted to show you this because these two answers, 2.5 and 2.5, are the same exact answer. This is just written as a fraction or mixed number, and this is written as a decimal. So you have two ways to solve depending on what your problem is asking you for. Here are two more problems I want you to try. Divide 11 divided by 10 and give the quotient as a mixed number, and divide 11 divided by 10 and give the quotient as a decimal. Good luck. I hope this video helped you, and don't be afraid of listening to what the problem is asking you for. Quotient is a mixed number, quotient is a decimal, fractions, decimals, they all mean the same thing as long as you know how to work them out.